The studio of the Graham Norton show glowed under a canopy of warm lights on a crisp October evening in 2025, the air thick with anticipation as London's glitterati filled the seats, their murmurs a low hum beneath the pulsing theme music. Graham Norton, resplendent in a crimson velvet blazer, bounded onto the set with his usual puckish charm, his Irish brogue slicing through the applause as he introduced a stellar lineup. Hollywood's quirky darling Zooey Deschanel, sporting a polka dot dress and a mischievous grin, crooner Ed Sheeran, lounging with his guitar and a pint, and Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, a figure both regal and renegade, his tailored charcoal suit accentuating his broad shoulders, his auburn beard framing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. The crowd roared as Harry waved, his demeanor polished yet guarded, a man who'd traded palace protocol for California candor but still carried the weight of a crown's shadow. Graham kicked off with his signature banter, tossing softballs about Zooey's latest rom-com flop and Ed's adventures in dad rock, the audience lapping up the levity like cream. Then, turning to Harry with a glint in his eye, Graham ventured, "So, Harry, from Buckingham to beachfront, how's the surf treating you? Got an Archie on aboard yet?" The prince chuckled, leaning forward, his voice warm as he described Montecito mornings with Lilibet chasing seagulls, a picture of domestic bliss painted with practiced ease. But the tone shifted when Graham, ever the provocateur, nudged deeper. "Your book, Spare, stirred quite the pot. Any regrets airing the royal laundry? Or is there a sequel brewing? Maybe, Spare change." The quip drew titters, but Harry's jaw tightened, his fingers brushing the cufflinks. "Diana's, a whispered heirloom," his eyes flicking to the floor as if seeking an anchor. "Graham," he began, voice low but firm, "I wrote to heal, not harm. Invictus is my focus now. Veterans, not vendettas." The deflection was deft, but Graham pressed, his smile sharp. "Oh, come now, mate, you're the king of clapbacks. Surely there's a juicy tidbit left." The audience leaned in, sensing the shift from jest to jab, Harry's posture stiffening like a soldier at attention, his blue eyes narrowing as the weight of 1,000 headlines, royal rebel, prodigal prince, pressed against his resolve. Zooey's nervous giggle cut the tension, but only briefly, as Graham's next line, "No need for Highness, here, just Harry, right?" landed like a misfired arrow, the word dripping with a casualness that felt like mockery to a man who'd spent years dismantling titles to reclaim his name. Harry's hand clenched the sofa's arm, the camera catching the flicker of old wounds, paparazzi chases, palace silences, reopened on live TV. The crowd's laughter faltered into awkward shuffles, Ed sipping his pint as if to vanish, and backstage, producers exchanged glances, sensing a viral storm brewing in the ether of X. The interview, meant to spotlight Harry's Invictus Games milestone, was veering into treacherous waters, the banter curdling into something raw, something personal, as the prince's patience frayed like a rope stretched too thin. This wasn't just a chat show, it was a crucible, and Harry's next move would either forge a new narrative or burn the evening to ash. As the first commercial break loomed, the studio's energy crackled with unspoken stakes, Graham Norton leaning back with a disarming grin, his fingers drumming a playful rhythm on his cue cards, though his eyes betrayed the glee of a ringmaster sensing drama. The segment had just wrapped a raucous game of Royal or Rocker, with Zooey miming a curtsy to Ed's air guitar riff, the audience in stitches as Harry offered a good-natured chuckle, playing along despite the earlier sting. But Graham, never one to let a hot coal cool, swiveled back to the prince, his tone teasing yet pointed. "Harry, you've faced bigger battles than Ed's chord progressions, Afghanistan, the tabloids. But that Vegas story, those naked pool shots, would you rather relive that or face a family Zoom with Camilla?" The question was a match to kindling, the crowd erupting in gasps and giggles, Zooey's eyes widening in mock horror, Ed muttering, "Blimey, mate." Harry's face darkened, the memory of 2012's grainy photos, a young soldier's lapse weaponized by the press, flaring like a phantom pain. "Graham," he said, voice taut as a bowstring, "I've owned that mistake, grown from it. But dragging it up here, in front of millions, isn't wit, it's cheap." The rebuke landed like a slap, the studio's hum faltering, a lone cough echoing from the back. Graham, unfazed, tilted his head with a theatrical pout. "Oh, Harry, it's just telly. We poke, you parry, thought you'd be game after all those royal roasts." But the prince wasn't playing, his voice dropping to a steely whisper, amplified by the mic. "Game. You think it's a game to prod at scars, my mother's death, my family's silence, for your ratings. I'm here for Invictus, not your circus." The air thickened, Zooey fidgeting, Ed staring into his pint as if it held the secrets of the universe, the audience caught between loyalty to Graham's charm and Harry's raw candor. Piers Morgan's ex-post from months ago, Harry's too soft for real scrutiny, flashed in the prince's mind, fueling his fire, his words now a torrent. You sit there, all smiles, but it's the same old trap, mock the ginger, milk the drama. I've fought harder fights than this couch. Graham, sensing the spiral, tried to pivot. All right, let's talk Invictus, your real passion, but Harry cut him off, his accent sharp with Sandhurst steel. No, you don't get to pivot now. You opened this wound, own it. The host's grin faltered, his retort sharp. Wound. This is a chat show, not therapy. Sorry, Harry. The slip of, was the spark, Harry's eyes blazing as he stood, chair scraping like a guillotine slide, voice booming. That's it. I'm done being your jester. The crowd gasped, phones flashing, capturing the prince's half-rise, his blazer taut across his shoulders as he loomed over the set. Backstage, producers scrambled, the director hissing into headsets, hold the shot. As X lit up with hashtag Harry vs Graham, memes of royal walkouts already birthing in the digital wilds. The segment teetered on collapse, a clash of egos and eras, old media's cheek versus new royalty's resolve, poised to explode into a moment that would echo far beyond the BBC's walls. The studio plunged into a surreal hush as the red light blinked, signaling the return from a frenzied commercial break, the audience's applause forced and thin, like clapping through fog. Graham Norton, ever the professional, flashed a megawatt smile, though his eyes darted to the empty seat where Prince Harry had sat moments before, now a gaping void beside Zoe's nervous grin and Ed's bemused slouch. Well, folks, Graham quipped, voice bright but brittle, seems our prince has pulled a Cinderella, minus the slipper. Let's move to Ed's new single. The pivot was desperate, the crowd's laughter half-hearted, as whispers of Harry's exit swirled like wildfire, phones glowing with X-posts already dubbing it, the Royal Rumble. Minutes earlier, Harry had stood, unclipping his mic with deliberate calm, his parting words a low growl. I came to talk veterans, not vendettas. You want spectacle? Find another pawn. He'd strode off, past stunned stagehands, his boots echoing on the polished floor, leaving Graham to stammer a recovery. Well, that's live telly, never dull. But the damage was done, the prince's shadow looming larger than the set itself. Backstage, chaos reigned. Harry's publicist fired off texts to Montecito, producers debated cutting the feed, while the director, sensing history, let the cameras linger on the empty chair, a silent co-star in the drama. On air, Zoe tried to lighten the mood with a quip about her cat's therapy bills, but even Ed's soulful strumming couldn't salve the wound of Harry's walkout, the audience's eyes flitting to the wings as if expecting a royal encore. X erupted, hashtag Harry walks out trending globally, split between, he's too sensitive, and, Graham crossed a line, with clips of the clash racking up millions of views, memes of Harry storming castles flooding feeds. Meghan, across the Atlantic, posted a cryptic Instagram story, a sunrise over waves, captioned, choose your battles, protect your peace, while palace sources leaked snide asides about Harry's tantrums. Graham wrapped the show with a wink, never a dull moment, Join us next week, hopefully with less drama. But the internet had already crowned the night a cultural flashpoint. Pundits from Sky News to CNN dissected the fallout. Was Harry's exit a stand for dignity or a diva's flounce? Invictus sponsors wavered, tabloids screamed, Harry's meltdown, yet his base rallied, flooding X with hashtag stand with Harry. The clash laid bare a truth. In the arena of modern media, where banter masks blades, Harry's rebellion wasn't just personal, it was a manifesto against a system that thrives on royal pain. Graham's show would recover, his charm untarnished, but the prince's stride into the night reframed him, not as spare, but as sovereign of his story, a man who'd rather walk than bow. As the credits rolled, the empty seat spoke loudest, a testament to a prince who chose silence over spectacle, leaving Britain to grapple with its own reflection in the glare of 1,000 screens.